7, protecting humans. An absurd delusion.
Three point five main story was a really interesting attempt from Wuthering Waves to tell the story of their game, which I have to say it was really well done. Their stories are kept to that threshold of 8 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. It seems like this is the threshold they want to maintain and they want to keep, and to be honest, I think that's great. They already set their stone for a certain level of quality, and we can see that they are delivering on it. While splitting the story practically almost in 3 parts was interesting choice, it didn't took anything from actual experience and going through the story, in my opinion, because I was just enjoying whatever was happening. But let's be honest, the beginning of the story was, in my opinion, rushed. Of course, eventually we would have to leave the school and move on to somewhere else, go to different places. It's just, when I saw it in this story, it felt kinda out of nowhere. Shouldn't graduation be something like big celebration? This felt like, yeah, this just happened, let's do it, and like she said, yada yada yada. It was funny, it definitely fit to this rushed ending of this school arc, but I kinda wanted to see a little bit more before we move on. But you know what? That's probably my only gripe next to somewhat butchery feeling of certain animation not be truly finished. But that's in every single story they have. So obviously that's like really nitpicky, and I don't know if it's actually kind of fair to point out that yes, these mistakes exist, but so far it's not truly harming the story. It's just that noticeable glare into certain portions that yes, they could try more, but I get it, they have probably tight schedule to release stories of this quality with hours of story, music, writing. I get it. You know what? Let's talk about Yang Yang. Yep. Her being in the story was fantastic. Yes, the voice acting didn't change. It still was this voice acting from 1.0 that people didn't like, but it kind of grew on me as a something original to her character. I don't know how you guys during this story, if you still disliked her voice acting or something, but you know what? Her voice acting grew on me, so maybe we just needed more time. If some people don't like the story because of her voice acting still being very similar to 1.0, I think that's okay and fair for them to assess. While I haven't heard these types of complaint, I don't expect to hear every single type of complaint on the internet when many people are just not very social when you are playing these types of games. You can expect that. But her actions from beginning to end were kinda interesting to watch. Obviously, the great friend that sacrifices herself for friends, sake of others, innocent. She is doing her job. While seeing it is difficult, she done it with smile. Even in the face of great challenge, she just fought to the very end. That's fantastic character that we witnessed in this entire 3.5 story. Her sister was just another great asset to this story as a comedic relief, added bonus through future stories and obviously connection to the Sentinel. Kinda unexpected. I didn't expect them to take this choice, but obviously I think it was great choice for them to do it. It kinda added that shock factor while it brought interest to the story. And immediately when I saw it, I immediately got hooked and started focusing more on what is happening. And that kind of intentions in the stories are very important. You need to make players lock in on the story when they don't do nothing, and I think that character was doing the great job. Every single time when suiiiii was doing something, it piqued the interest, and for that, great job. Then also we have the villain of this story. While he's not claiming to be part of Fraxides, he is somewhat possibly working with somebody in the Frexidus, but he is a really interesting villain and hopefully we're gonna see more of him. He came out of nowhere, but you know what? I like him. He is something again unique and interesting to the story. My man, I want to see more of him. Philosophical hypocrite. Fantastic. I think they done a great job with him. Intimidating, powerful, interesting past, also ambitions, goals. It's well written. The main character of the story was not really the main part of the story. He was that hero, like he is the perfect hero that comes there to save the day. He doesn't have to be there for the whole story. He doesn't have to mingle in anything. He is there when times are the hardest. He comes there, helps, and he does that fantastically every single time. Well, I still wonder in the first fight when Yang Yang and Rover were fighting the robot, he for some reason needed the power up of the Sentinel to get this new power, to defeat this robot. That I find weird. He is obviously much stronger and I think should be simple for him to break the barrier and get to defeat this robot. We witnessed how much power he can harness in the moments of notice and need. For me, this fight just didn't bring that enough tension or need that some random power up of Sentinel would be necessary to overcome this challenge in the quickest and most efficient way possible. They just made this robot out of nowhere this strong. Well, I can say that maybe there was something I missed in the story that would make it seem that yes, he is that strong in itself that you need this external power source to again empower yourself to just break through it like butter. That's, I think, kinda weirdly done. If he got out of nowhere again another power up because Rover was cracking that shield, then yes, I would absolutely understand that we are in need to quickly overcome this challenge and continue through our story and that power up was necessary. In that moment I would get it, but nothing like this happened. It was just he was that strong and we cannot do anything. Am I the only one that find this weird? Other than then, the final fight, his role in it was just what it fits. I don't feel like there was other glaring issue like this in the story that would be like, wait a minute, what the hell? Maybe we can still talk about the time traveling issue. Maybe Yang Yang and Rover traveled into past, not revisiting past as spectators, but kinda influence what has happened. Kinda weird that Yang Yang has that power. It would be interesting in the future if she got another form, because from everything that it seems, she's also the main poster of this whole game, so obviously maybe romantic interest could be there. We already saw it. Some hints in there. Maybe they just do it as a tease on players' Kuro games, but I think there is going to be that romantic feeling eventually actually said out loud. And I wonder how they're gonna handle it, because if she gets another form as another 5-star variant, that would be funny. That would be absolutely funny. You know what, I don't even know what to speak about this story. These games are better to be enjoyed by the players that are actually playing them, and later when you are on live stream, then it's better to discuss with players than actually just talking about this on the video, because so many things have happened that I may miss some really important things to talk about, and the only way for me to talk about more about them is in the comment section. In my case, the story in 3.5 was really good, really interesting. Their new attempt to split story into 2 separate playable parts was very well made. The way that Yang Yang got a new look and new 5-star power up was also very well made, emotional and absolutely meaningful to the story. It was just phenomenal. For me, I enjoyed it. I would give it this 3.5 story 9 out of 10. If Kuro games can keep up with future stories to be just at 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, I will be satisfied as a player as long as this game is running. While the lore is, in my opinion, all over the place, because I hardly can notice certain things. The stories that are being told in Wuthering Waves are just phenomenally done. If you are a player that wants to experience Wuthering Waves, you don't come here to experience the lore of this world, you're gonna experience the stories of this world. That's the unique strength of Wuthering Waves. You are not here because of the world and the lore of this world, you are here for these small, meaningful, and sometimes important stories. So later you can eventually learn about the lore of this world, because I mean, so far there is nothing to rush. Unless Fraxidos will do something stupid, we can chill. So hopefully the 3.6 is gonna deliver again another banger like this 3.5, because oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the future of the Wuthering Waves and the stories being told like this. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next video. Goodbye and have a nice rest of your day.